to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Hello and welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. You've arrived here with the simple intention of rest, a gentle time out from the day, a soft sanctuary for your mind. In a moment, you'll journey through a tranquil tale set amid the frosted pines of Jasper in the Canadian Rockies, where moonlit trails lead through an otherworldly winter wonderland. But first, let your breathing slow. Inhale softly, feeling your lungs fill with cool, soothing air. Exhale with a quiet sigh, releasing the tensions and concerns of the day. Notice your shoulders settling into a calmer place. Perhaps your jaw loosens, your eyes feel heavier, and your mind grows quieter with each breath. Here, in this restful space, there is nowhere else you need to be. Let this be your permission to drift, to allow the story that follows to cradle you in gentle peace. Your eyes might close as you become aware of the softness beneath you, maybe a bed or a couch, offering gentle support. The space around you begins to dim, as though dusk has fallen just for you. And in this comforting twilight, you can sense a faint shimmer on the horizon. It's like the first sigh of moonlight beckoning you toward calm. You're invited to leave any restlessness behind, to feel yourself enfolded in warmth and safety. Within that comforting presence, you can already anticipate the story's invitation, an evening stroll among snow-capped evergreens, hushed forests, and the serene majesty of moonlit mountains. Take another deep breath in and let it go slowly. Allow your thoughts to settle and give yourself this quiet gift of gentleness. Now, as you relax, the story begins to blossom in your mind, almost as if you're stepping through a doorway into a new realm. But instead of you walking the snowy paths and breathing in the frosty air, picture another figure, a quiet traveler, drifting gently along in your stead. Let the traveler carry the experiences for you while you sink deeper into rest. Feel your consciousness melt softly into the background and allow this comforting tale to lead you toward a place of deep and nurturing sleep. Under the radiant glow of a high winter moon, a quiet traveler made their way through the heart of Jasper National Park. The Canadian Rockies rose up in silhouette against the night sky, their slopes dusted with fresh powder that gleamed like pale silver beneath the moonlight. Each step the traveler took upon the soft snow seemed to echo through the hushed evergreens. Their breath formed little clouds in the cold air, gently dissolving before drifting away. A keen hush had settled over the land, as though the wide valleys and towering peaks had entered into a silent accord with winter. Pines stood tall and stately, their branches laden with layers of glistening frost. Moonlight traced each needle with a ghostly shimmer, turning them into tiny sculptures of ice. Here and there, The forest whispered in subtle tones, a creak of wood adjusting to the chill, a faint rustle of a small animal hidden from view. Even the wind tread lightly through the boughs, content to move in gentle whirls rather than forceful gusts. The traveler wore warm, layered clothing to fend off the mountain night's chill, along with sturdy boots that made soft, crunching sounds. They moved with an unhurried, almost reverent pace. Their gaze lingered on every detail of the moonlit landscape, as though this nighttime world deserved careful study. Now and again the traveler would pause, inhaling the crisp, pine-scented air, trying to take in the essence of this silent, shimmering wonderland. A pale path stretched out beneath the frosted trees, barely more than a soft indentation in the snow. This trail wound gracefully through the forest, curving around clusters of pines that stood like faithful guardians. Occasionally the path dipped and rose, following the gentle undulations of the terrain. Each step revealed subtle changes in the snowfall, from fresh powder that gave underfoot like goose down pillows to firmer crust where previous steps had packed the flakes together. The traveler found these shifts soothing, like the quiet variations of a gentle lullaby. Nearby, the outlines of distant mountain ridges rose against the sky. Their peaks pierced the night like ancient pillars, timeless and resolute, draped in a hush that felt almost sacred. The moon, in its flawless glow, seemed to celebrate each summit, illuminating every contour with silver edges. Far below, a valley floor lay immersed in shadows, but even those deep pockets of darkness seemed kind, as if they too belonged to a grand design of peace. Through the frozen hush, faint signs of hidden life revealed themselves. A fox, sleek and silent, darted across the traveler's path, leaving a winding trail of paw prints behind. Its ears perked momentarily, but the traveler made no movement to disturb it. The fox disappeared behind a snowdrift, returning to its nightly routine. Far overhead, a single owl cut across the glimmering canopy, its wings outstretched like a wise sentinel of the night. There was no hoot, only the graceful arc of flight, silhouetted against the moon. As the traveler pressed onward, the path carried them near a partially frozen creek. Jagged sheets of ice clung to the banks, their surfaces catching and reflecting the moon's glow. Through openings in the ice, water flowed with a low murmur, a quiet lullaby in the otherwise silent forest. With each step closer, the gurgling melody grew clearer, twinkling through the frosty air like a nighttime hymn. The traveler paused to watch the gentle motion, feeling an unspoken connection to the stream's persistence. Even under ice and snow, life carried on, patient and unwavering. After a moment of admiration, the traveler let the creek's murmuring guide their feet forward along the banks, the trail meandering beside the water. The moon's reflection danced in the creek's ripples, shimmering like liquid silver. Occasionally, clouds drifted across the sky, and the moon's intensity would wane for a moment, casting softer shadows upon the snow. The traveler enjoyed these transitions, each shift of light bringing a sense of change within the stillness. It was as if time slowed down in these mountains, granting space for every subtle fluctuation of moonlight and breeze. Soon, the winding path drew the traveler farther from the creek, deeper among towering pines that rose like a cathedral of nature. The faint sound of trickling water gave way to the quiet resonance of the forest itself. The traveler found comfort in the knowledge that this land had long existed in harmony with the cycles of the seasons. Winter's hush was not an emptiness but a contemplative pause. Every branch and trunk seemed in silent communion, gathering energy and readiness for spring's eventual arrival. Yet on this night, in the crisp, cold air, there was no hurry. The forest seemed at peace with the quiet. Moonbeams slanted between the trunks, creating slim, silvery pathways of light on the forest floor. In these glowing patches, the snow took on a faint luminescence, like a dreamscape in which everything was gentle and soft. The traveler's footprints formed a solitary line in that moonlit expanse, marking a personal journey through the silence. Each breath of air felt purifying, as though the body and mind became lighter with every inhalation. There was no weight of expectation, no pressing matter from the outside world. It was an encounter with simple existence. Occasionally, the traveler would find a fallen log or a rock partially cleared of snow and decide to rest. Sitting quietly in the hush, they could sense their own heartbeat, aligning with the pulse of the forest. The hush was so profound that even the faint hum of thoughts in the traveler's mind seemed to slow. Staring up at the pines, tall and regal, laden with ice crystals, the traveler felt a stirring of gratitude for the raw, unspoken beauty that this landscape offered. Time became unhurried and fluid as the traveler drifted along, each footstep a meditative gesture. Up ahead, a small clearing appeared, bathed in moonlight. The pines parted here, revealing a wide-open sky dusted with shimmering stars. An ancient pine, perhaps older than most in the forest, stood watch at the clearing's center, its branches stretching in dignified splendor. The traveler approached with reverence, pausing at the tree's massive trunk. Frost coated the bark, glittering in the moonlight. In the hush, the traveler closed their eyes, feeling the silent presence of that venerable pine rooted deeply in the earth, bridging heaven and ground. When the traveler opened their eyes, they noticed an almost imperceptible shift in the sky. The moon was perched higher, the stars more vivid. A delicate glow, faint and wispy, arced at the horizon, a pastel shimmer that hinted at the possibility of auroras. Jasper was known for such displays, but they came as unhurried guests, dancing across the sky at their own pace. The traveler kept watch for a few minutes, content to see even the faintest whisper of green light weaving into the tapestry of stars. With a renewed sense of wonder, the traveler drifted on, guided by the moonlit path that curved gently through the clearing. The pines drew in again, forming a comforting corridor, as though ushering the traveler along. At intervals, the path neared rocky outcroppings, draped in fresh snow, each rock crowned with a layer of luminous frost. Soft crunches of snow underfoot were the only accompaniment to the traveler's quiet passage. In time, the path led to a gentle slope rising toward a broader vantage point. The traveler ascended with smooth, measured steps, noticing how the horizon widened with each upward movement. Snow-laden pines flanked both sides of this slope, their branches drooping under the weight of the powdery flakes. The traveler occasionally rested a gloved hand on a tree trunk, sensing the wood's rugged texture beneath the frost. Each touch was a silent exchange, the warmth of a living being against the chilled bark of an ancient sentinel. As the traveler emerged at the slope's crest, a panoramic view of the Rocky Mountain range revealed itself. In the nighttime stillness, the peaks extended in all directions, regal and glimmering under moonlight. Some were sheathed in fresh snow, while others displayed craggy faces where the wind had swept the snow away. The traveler paused, breath catching in quiet awe. The infinite sky seemed close enough to touch, sprinkled with starlight that glittered like tiny crystals. It was a picture of winter's majesty in its purest form, a land that breathed with a profound, tranquil spirit. Below, in a valley nestled between the mountains, patches of forest alternated with open meadows, each blanketed in pristine white. A single winding road meandered through the valley, only faintly visible in the night. The traveler could almost imagine a gentle hush falling over any distant cabins where soft lights might glow from windows and smoke might curl from chimneys carrying the comforting scent of firewood. Even though the traveler stood alone on that overlook, a quiet reassurance filled the heart, knowing that a warm shelter existed somewhere nearby if needed. Continuing on, the traveler let the trail guide them toward a small, time-worn wooden bridge that spanned a narrow gorge. The bridge's planks were dusted with a delicate lace of frost, and the railing held icicles that swayed with faint movement in the wind. Below, water glided in a steady flow, half of its surface sealed with ice. The moon beamed down upon this crossing, illuminating it like a gentle stage light. Slowly, the traveler stepped onto the planks, each footfall resonating with a soft, hollow sound. In that moment, the land seemed to exhale a quiet peace, as though acknowledging the traveler's presence and sending a soothing message. You are safe here, embraced by nature's silence. Once across, the path curved away from the gorge and dipped into a grove of massive spruces. Here, the canopy overhead was so dense that only faint specks of moonlight touched the forest floor. The air felt slightly warmer, insulated by the thick branches. The traveler marveled at the network of roots and pine needles beneath the thin blanket of snow. Even in the hush of winter, life teemed in hidden corners. Tiny footprints crossed the path, perhaps a rabbit or a stoat. Small mounds of snow nestled against the trunks, as though the forest had gently tucked itself in for a deep sleep. Eventually, the traveler came upon a narrow opening between the trees. There, a humble cabin stood, a tiny structure of logs and stone, quietly harmonizing with the winter woods. Soft light from a single lamp glowed behind a frosted window. Smoke rose in a slender ribbon from the chimney, hinting at warmth within. Perhaps the occupant was lost in a book, or dozing by the fire, or watching the moonlight filter through the snowy boughs outside. Though it was a private, humble dwelling, its presence felt inviting, a beacon of comfort in the vast silence. Not wanting to disturb the stillness, the traveler moved past the cabin on silent feet, letting the occupant keep their solitude. Farther along, the path regained its openness, winding through stands of birch and aspen whose pale trunks gleamed like phantoms under the moon. Their leaves long gone, the branches formed intricate lacework against the sky. A gentle wind passed through, setting a faint whisper among the bare limbs. There was a sense of soft lullaby, a soothing hush that lulled all living things into calm reflection. Beyond the birches, the traveler glimpsed a clear view of a tranquil lake, mostly iced over, ringed by pines and rocky slopes. The moon's reflection on the vast stretch of ice resembled a silver disk, floating upon smooth water. Soft snowdrifts marked the shoreline, and in the deeper shadows, one could still see the gentle glimmer where the ice had formed swirling patterns. Approaching the lakeside, the traveler paused to admire the artistry of nature. Tiny air bubbles trapped in the ice formed linear streaks and circular shapes, each pattern a unique design etched by winter's hand. With a slow gait, the traveler made their way toward a modest wooden bench set at the water's edge, slightly dusted with snow. Brushing off a spot, they sat and gazed across the frozen expanse. The stillness was immense. Occasionally, the lake emitted a soft crack or groan as the ice settled, a reminder that even in silence, the earth continued its gentle dance. The traveler allowed thoughts and breaths to slow until they melded with that hush, fully immersed in the presence of the mountains, the pines, and the silent silver lake. A subtle shift in the sky signaled that the moon had drifted further along its arc. Shadows lengthened in new directions, and the stars brightened, shimmering as though rejoicing in the profound peace below. That faint glow at the horizon had now grown more defined, swirling in soft ribbons of pale green and elusive pink. The traveler watched, entranced, as those ethereal lights stretched across the sky. In hushed delight, they observed how the auroras danced, fluid and graceful, weaving among the stars. Though not always strong, their faint presence was magical, an intimate dance of celestial wonder. Time felt fluid and timeless, each breath each gentle rise and fall of the traveler's chest aligned with the forest's breathing. The hush felt so deep that it carried its own music, composed of the faint sigh of wind, the occasional pop of ice, and the distant hush of nocturnal creatures going about their nightly habits. Within that stillness, the traveler sensed a profound calm, like a silent blessing offered by the frosted pines themselves. Rising from the bench, the traveler felt the body move with effortless grace, almost floating across the snow. The next portion of the trail looped back toward the deeper recesses of the forest, offering another encounter with the majesty of the woods. Pine needles, coated with crystals of ice, shimmered in the corners of the traveler's peripheral vision. Clusters of snow drifted down from branches now and then, disturbed by the slightest breeze. Each gentle fall produced a muffled whoosh, like a drowsy exhalation of winter. The traveler let curiosity lead them, pausing to observe the patterns etched by the wind on the snow's surface. Little ripples, gentle drifts, the subtle artistry of nature. Here, the moonlight cast longer shadows, crafting an interplay of dark and bright stripes across the path. Occasionally, a glimpse of starlight filtered through the boughs, twinkling in a way that felt almost playful, as though the sky offered a secret signal of encouragement. Further along, the traveler came upon a smooth, open glade, sprinkled with young spruce and fir saplings, their slender trunks bent slightly under the weight of the snow, and beneath them the shadows crisscrossed in lace-like patterns. The traveler remembered hearing tales of how wildlife found shelter beneath these drooping branches, using them as natural tents in winter storms. In this moment, the forest was still, but one could imagine small creatures curled safely in pockets of warmth. Continuing, the traveler turned onto a softly illuminated trail that looped back toward the heart of the park. Each step was guided by the moon's silvery glow, the path gently lit as though showing the way home. The hush felt absolute, yet within it, the presence of life pulsed like a calm undercurrent. An ancient wisdom seemed to flow through the pines, an understanding of seasons and cycles that humans could only glimpse in moments of profound stillness. As the traveler moved deeper into the woodland, the terrain shifted slightly. Large, mossy boulders rested against tree trunks, their surfaces partially concealed by snow. In the moonlight, the moss looked like delicate velvet, a soft green subdued by winter's hush. The traveler paused at one boulder, marveling at how centuries of growth and decay had shaped this resting place. There was a sense of time stretching far beyond any single life. An almost comforting reminder that these mountains had witnessed countless nights of moonlit enchantment. Pressing gently onward, the traveler found themselves following a slight downward slope, the path weaving gracefully toward a lower valley. The pine groves parted, revealing another glimpse of the wide sky overhead. The moon, now nearing its highest point, illuminated the valley floor in a gentle glow. Here, the wind whispered more noticeably among the evergreens, carrying with it the faint scent of distant waterfalls frozen into crystalline sculptures. Though the traveler could not see these falls, there was a sense of quiet reverence for the hidden wonders. Eventually, the trail curved around a great basalt outcropping, and the traveler noticed a clearing where a modest cluster of boulders formed a natural circle. Snow had piled in the center, creating a soft seat shaped by the elements. It looked like a contemplative nook, as if the land itself had provided a gentle space for reflection. Upon stepping into this circle, the traveler felt an enveloping calm, as though stepping into a sacred enclosure. Tall pines guarded the perimeter, their frosted branches arching overhead like the ceilings of a forest cathedral. The traveler rested there for a while, letting the mind drift into quiet introspection. In that stillness, the night's serenity seemed to flow around and within them, like a balm for the spirit. Thoughts grew softer, no longer scurrying about with daily concerns. The hush of the forest cradled them, and the silver moon above cast gentle shadows that shifted with the slow passing of time. It was a moment of pure rest, of being fully present in a space without urgency or strain. At length, the traveler stood, feeling a refreshed awareness, and slipped back onto the trail. The next portion led through a cluster of tall, slender pines. Their straight trunks soared into the sky, glinting with traces of frost in the moonlight. The traveler's footsteps formed a steady rhythm in the snow, a comforting crunch that accompanied the rhythmic rise and fall of the breath. Soon, the glow of the moonlit sky revealed a wide meadow lying just beyond the pines. The traveler could make out the gentle undulations of a frozen pond at the meadow's center. In the meadow, the moon's light was unhindered, painting the snow in a luminous, pearly sheen. The traveler felt as though they were stepping into a painting, one brushed with the quiet strokes of silver and pale blue. Trees lined the meadow's edge, dark silhouettes encircling this open space where the sky descended like a gentle canopy. Here and there, small shrubs poked up through the snow, their branches dipped in white crystals. The traveler wandered toward the pond, noticing that it too was mostly frozen. A soft dusting of fresh snow covered the surface, though cracks of deeper ice patterns showed in a faint spiderweb design. Near the pond's edge, footprints of small animals told stories of nighttime visits. Perhaps a deer had paused to sip from a liquid opening in the ice, or a raccoon had ambled curiously around the margin. Each mark was a gentle sign of life thriving in the hush. The traveler bent to touch the surface of the pond's edge, feeling the chill of ice beneath the glove. In the stillness of that meadow, time felt as soft and pliable as the freshly fallen snow. Looking skyward, the traveler noticed the moon's gaze shining in full brilliance now, its light so clear that the traveler's own shadow stretched gently across the snow. Somewhere far in the distance, the faint hoot of an owl resonated. The sound seemed to travel through the forest, like a gentle ripple. The traveler closed their eyes briefly, imagining the owl perched on a high branch, quietly surveying the moonlit domain. Continuing, the path curved from the meadow back into a line of grand fir trees. The transition felt like slipping from open sky into a calm shelter. Here, the air grew still again. The wind reduced to barely a breath. The traveler wondered about the layers of pine needles beneath the snow and pictured them waiting in patient slumber for the renewal of spring. But for now, they slept, wrapped in frosty quiet, breathing in the hush of winter nights. Onward, the traveler came upon a solitary spruce that stood at a bend in the trail. The tree's branches were draped with shimmering icicles. Some hung short and jagged, others long and elegantly tapered, all catching the moon's glow in scattered reflections. It was as if the spruce were adorned with the most delicate of ornaments. Stepping closer, the traveler watched tiny droplets of melted frost forming at the icicles' tips, then slowly freezing again in the night air, capturing time in transparent miniature sculptures. Past the spruce, the trail gently climbed another small rise. The traveler proceeded with measured steps, mindful of the magic in each new place discovered. The hush, the moonlight, and the crisp air had woven themselves into a calming lullaby. The traveler's heart felt lighter, as though burdens were dissolving into the quiet drifts of snow. At the top of the rise, the path opened again to a broad vista. Here, far below in the valley, a faint glow hinted at distant lights, perhaps a hamlet or a small settlement, where late-night windows offered a welcoming glow. The traveler felt a quiet gratitude for the remote wilderness and the gentle comfort scattered within it. Circling back along the trail, the traveler recognized familiar features of the forest from earlier in the night. The graceful pines, the trickling creek, the ancient tree in the clearing. Hours might have passed, or maybe only moments. Time was a loose concept in such tranquility. As the path slowly guided the traveler toward the starting point, the hush of the landscape left a gentle imprint on the heart. It was as if the land bestowed a gift of peace, an assurance that serenity lies waiting for those who are willing to pause and listen. Eventually the forest thinned, and the outline of a small welcome center or gathering area became visible, a sign of returning to the threshold of human comforts. A soft lantern glowed by the entry sign, revealing a short stretch of cleared walkway. The traveler paused, gazing back at the forest trail. Frosted pines stood in silent farewell, branches sparkling under the moon. That hush, that sense of gentle awe, still wrapped itself around the traveler like a warm cloak. The night sky remained clear, the moon a steadfast companion overhead. Though the journey had come full circle, the peace it conferred lingered in the traveler's breath, in the slow beating of the heart, in the awareness of having witnessed something profound. The Canadian Rockies had shared their quiet splendor, and in return the traveler carried forth an inner stillness, a tranquil spirit that reached deep into dreams. Now, as the hours grow late, the pace of thought and movement naturally slows. You may notice the gentle weight of your eyelids or the softness of your breathing. The hush of the frosted pines and the glimmering moonlit trails settles around you like a comforting quilt. There is no haste, no pressing need. Your mind, your body, your spirit can rest here, cocooned in the peaceful calm of a mountain night. Let each remaining hint of tension dissolve, letting go with every exhale. Picture the quiet traveler making their way back to a cozy lodge, boots left by the door, a warm fire crackling softly within. Picture a plush chair near the fireplace, the light reflecting off frost-crusted windows. And know that in your own space you have every right to sink into this same serene warmth. Allow the last traces of wakefulness to loosen their hold, drifting on the gentle currents of your breath. Imagine lying down on a soft bed, feeling layers of blankets and the gentle hush of night air. The moonlight, if it touches you at all, comes in a subtle glow, reminding you of silver peaks and whispering pines. You are safe here, held in a gentle realm where the outside world becomes a gentle echo. Each beat of your heart resonates with calm, each breath drawing in peace and releasing any restless thoughts. With your senses soothed and your mind resting, surrender to the lull of deep sleep. In this moment, let your thoughts tumble into soft dreams where the frosted trees and silent trails of Jasper remain as a comforting backdrop. Envision the star-filled sky overhead, the faint swirls of auroras dancing in slow motion, and sense yourself weightlessly floating under that infinite expanse. With the silent guidance of winter's hush, you sink further into rest, deeper than before, each muscle settling into a velvety heaviness that gently anchors you to comfort. This is a sacred pause in time, a gift to your weary spirit. Let your breathing guide you gently, each inhale a thread that knits you into the sweetness of sleep, each exhale carrying away even the faintest distractions. Release any lingering thought, any subtle tension, and allow yourself to be carried into the deepest recesses of slumber. The frosty pines of Jasper, the moonlit trails, and the shimmering hush of the Canadian Rockies remain as soft guardians, lulling you onward. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well. May you find comfort in the moon's quiet glow, and may gentle dreams guide you toward the peace you seek. Rest now in this gentle place of calm, and let the hush of the night become a cradle for your soul. Sleep deeply and dream sweetly. Your journey is complete, and you are safe within the embrace of stillness.